Hello guys, my name's Slippery Jack, and today I'm reviewing the 6th album by The Prodigy, The Day's My Enemy. Now before I get into this, I've got a couple quick announcements. So there are some reviews that are starting to pile up. There's a few new releases that I want to cover, and I've also got a request to review Globe Lamp, and for some reason I didn't see that until like a month later, and I'm really sorry that I missed that. I will get a review for as soon as I can. And for some yeah, I don't know, like, it was marked as spam for some reason. I don't even know like what it was, but it was so weird, and I can never get like, I'm gonna have to replace some of these lights, some of my lights. Like, I can't get the lighting right. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's get into this. So, don't forget that I'm not only reviewing The Prodigy because I think they're awesome, but because of Keith Flint's passing. There is one album that I think represents him the most. It's this one, because his vocals are in 7 of the 14 tracks, and I think it's a very defining album for him, like I said earlier. And the sound of this one isn't really much different from early Prodigy records. It's just that, like, it's got a very unique feel to it. You can compare it to the Fat of the Land, since it's using, like, the same formulas that the Prodigy are known for. But it is, like, the Fat of the Land was, like, way more bright and happy. The Day Is My Enemy is very angry and dark and mean, and it just sounds like it's just like balls to the wall, obliterate everything in sight. It's one of my go-to albums for fighting games because of how aggressive and destructive it sounds, and it just kind of matches that. But however, I find the aggressiveness of this thing very easy to get into. It's as if Keith was very angry and he's just letting it all out at once in this album. And some of the lyrics too just kind of thrown like they were thrown together just because. But what I really love about The Day Is My Enemy is that it is so memorable. Like, seriously, this is one of the most memorable albums I have ever heard. It always leaves me wanting to come back for more, which is a huge advantage over Invaders Must Die. Here, I'll go down the track listing. The title track has some military percussion and a high-pitched voice saying, "The day is my enemy, the night is my friend." And, like, these vocals used to annoy the crap out of me. And this would be one of my choices for least favorite, but I've gotten used to the vocals by now, and it's got this great melody that comes in at one point too that always keeps it more interesting. And Nasty is much more intense. And Keith's infectious enthusiasm when he yells, "Nasty! Nasty!" just makes you want to yell along with him. He sounds like he's having like a lot of fun on here. And it's at one point he says, "I ain't no tourist." So I'm guessing that might have some influence on the next album's title. Rebel Radio is more of an electronic rock track, and I love the melody, and it's just like a good pump-up track. Ibiza is another good electronic rock track. I really like the lyrics on this one despite the millions of F-bombs. It's an attack on modern DJs that they saw in Ibiza, how the DJs would just play the music and wave their arms without putting on a very good show. Destroy is an instrumental, except for this one robot voice saying the song's title every now and then. It's like one of the more aggressive and angry sounding ones. It's pretty good though. And Wild Frontier is easily one of my favorites. I consider this to be like the omen of this album. is one of those tracks that just makes you feel epic and you want to do something heroic or something. The melody here is also fantastic. Rok-Weiler is another epic sounding one that's just clearly there to rock you out, and it's another big favorite for me. And Beyond the Death Ray is a straight ambient track with some beautiful piano melodies and this electronic bass line and melodies also make this track a lot more interesting. But it really gives me the chills, so that it actually sounds as if like you're dying and you're trying to stay alive, but you know deep down that there's nothing you could do. It's a pretty cool one. But it's followed up by a much more fun track. Rhythm Bomb features dubstep group Flux Pavilion. I'm not very familiar with Flux Pavilion, but I think that they both did a good job on here. It's just one of those tracks that makes you want to get up and dance and bang your head and have fun. But it's followed up by a much darker, angrier track called Roadblox. Another great banger you just can't help but yell along with. Take it back, take it back! Drive on straight through the roadblocks! Let me see what you got! This one even seems to have some elements of heavy metal too, despite not really having any guitars that I know of. Get Your Fight On has like this looping guitar sample that makes it a lot more memorable. And it's one of those pumpy electronic rock tracks, and another one that you just want to sing to. Get your fight on, get your fight on, get something to bite on. And Medicine has a cool horn sample at the beginning. This one is one of the darkest ones on the album. The lyrics too are also quite morbid about like surrendering to a sickness or something like that. And Invisible Sun is perhaps as dark as this album gets. It is very slow, psychedelic with some loud, heavy metal kind of guitar. I'm not sure how to describe how the song makes me feel. It's got like the same anger and aggressiveness that the rest of the album has, but it also kind of sounds sadder. It's as if the album is starting to like dwindle and just kind of done being angry, but then out of nowhere there's Wall of Death, which is all aggressive and in your face, and as you can tell by the name, it's got like some more very angry, morbid lyrics, like similar to what you heard on Medicine. And yeah, you just don't see this one coming. And yeah, I don't think it's the best choice for the ending. I think that they probably should have left it on Invisible Sun. But I feel like they were trying to make you think that the album was winding down on Invisible Sun, but then they're like, oh, we're not finished yet. And then they just throw in like this energetic banger. And overall, I think you can probably tell that I love The Day's My Enemy, but I have one huge problem with it. The production here totally sucks. Songs that tried to sound heavy or in your face just weren't, because the guitars and distorted electronics were all weak. There was also like a real lack of bass in some tracks. Had the production been better, songs like Rebel Radio or Rok-Weiler would have rocked so much harder, and it probably would have been much more popular than it is now. I could keep going on about how the production is bad, but that's gonna take a lot of points off the score. But despite the nasty production, I loved every song on here. I see myself returning to The Day's My Enemy many times in the future, and I'm overall feeling an 82 out of 100. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to support the channel. Don't forget to leave requests and comments for something that you would like me to review. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.